Well, we're here on the virtual IPA weekend with 18-time Grammy Award winner, Polka Hall of Famer, the one and only Polka's living legend, Jimmy Sturr. Jimmy, how are you?
That's a mouthful,
I'll tell you. Well, I read
Holy
it just the way you
Oh,
wrote it
okay.
out for me. But anyway, on this weekend, we can't be in Buffalo this weekend celebrating the IPA's 52nd anniversary. But we're here and we're trying to bring some of the things that would happen in Buffalo to you folks at home. Jimmy, one musician in your band has been with you the longest.
Wow, man. I've been very fortunate because I've had so many that have been with me so long. My cousin, Eric Parks, he was in the band for about 42 years, but now Johnny Karras would be the oldest. Johnny's in the band going on his 41st year. Frankie Urbanovitz, the fiddle player, is going on 40. Kenny Harbis, 28. Nick DeVito, 28. So, I'm very fortunate to have the guys for so long.
You just came off of that wonderful television show we did in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania about a month ago. And it was the first time in about 4 or 5 months that the band was together. And you wouldn't have known it because
Wow.
everything went great.
That was shocking. That was shocking. First of all, you're right. It was like 4.5 months since the band was together. That was the first time. And if the people that are watching this and listening to it, if they knew we had no time for a sound check, no time to go over the new songs that we never did before. So it was something where we started. That's where we started. No rehearsal, no nothing.
And to date, well over 30,000 people have viewed that program.
That's on Facebook.
Right,
But
right.
we don't know yet how many watched it on television because it was seen nationwide. It was quite exciting.
Well, what do you think set the Jimmy Sturr band apart from the rest of the musicians and bands in the polka field?
Well, we play a different style, and everybody likes their style, and I understand that. Growing up, I always had my favorite bands. I'd have, for a little while, Frank Wojnarowski. For 6 months, Frank Wojnarowski was my favorite. And then from there, I might have gone to Larry Chesky or Al Soika or, Walt Solik or the Connecticut Twins. I always had a favorite. And the kind of style that I play, of course, now is a little bit different. But, I try to Americanize it. First of all, that's what I tried to do. So everybody would like our style of polka music. Now, the Polish have their style. You get out into the Midwest, the Germans have their style. So I think, I tried to put together a style that everybody would enjoy.
What do you think that the most memorable in your long celebrated 60-year career? One job in particular, or something that's, of course, the 18 Grammys that are here. I'm sure that's a big part of it. But if there's one thing that you could,
There's no doubt in my mind, the first thing that comes to mind is being interviewed by you.
now I know you're full of baloney.
There's been so many. I've been very fortunate to, have done a lot of television shows, from the Nashville Network and even most recent, To Tell the Truth, or playing Vegas or, some of these places, the Grand Ole Opry, doing Farm Aid with Willie Nelson. So there's, I don't know whether I could come down to just, one particular job because there's been so many that have been exciting for me.
All right. Do you remember your very first recording?
Sort of. Yeah, sure I do. It was called Polka Festival. And it's funny because, I was, my teens, I did it after I got out, I graduated from one of the military academies and then went into the Army and came out. The first thing I wanted to do is record. So I actually went to Al Soika. And I knew Al Soika had his own recording studio where a lot of the bands like Joe Rock and Al Soika and just a lot of the bands, Larry Chesky, recorded in his barn. I went up to visit him, and it's a little bit of an off thing, but I'm going to tell it anyway. I come, standing there by the barn with Al Soika talking about recording. There's a guy up there painting the barn. Al Soika says, "You know who that guy is? He's painting my barn for free time in his studio." And I thought, oh, really? What's his name? He said, Gene Pitney. Do you remember that name?
No.
Gene Pitney.
No.
Before your time. Gene Pitney had so many big hits, and he wrote a lot of hits, too. And he made movies, songs for movies. But anyway, it was he was up on the barn painting. So anyway, we made a deal, and the very first recording I did was at Al Soika's barn, and it was called Polka Festival.
Well, how many albums later?
Oh,
and your latest album is A Trip to Poland, which is a couple of CDs, LPs that were now transferred to CDs with the Matusz singers, and of course, Gotta Be Good Times, the last record. Do you plan on recording again?
Yeah, in fact, I have I have most of the songs all ready to go. It's just the idea of getting into the studio to do it. But it's hard to believe. The next one I do will be my 152nd.
Wow.
Either LP or CD. Mm-hmm. That's incredible. That's a lot of recording.
So as we look towards the future of polka music, what do you see? How do you think that the industry on a whole, I mean, taking COVID out of it, because that was a curveball that was thrown to all of us that nobody would expect it.
That's a hard question. I remember, growing up as a kid, you go to a dance, and if you only had 300 or 400 people, that was a small crowd. Now it's much different. And I think it's hard to explain. I don't think we'll ever have a hit record in the polka field. I've tried to do it with our own television show to promote polka music, but I don't know where it's going. I don't think anybody does, especially, with the younger kids. There's, a certain amount of young kids that enjoy polka, but, I don't think anybody can really answer and really know what that answer really is.
Well, we certainly appreciate your time. You've been a member of the Hall of Fame since 1984, and we're pleased to have you here on the IPA virtual weekend. And if there's one thing that you could want to be remembered for in the industry, what would you say it would be?
Living to be 105 years old.
Jimmy Sturr from his home in Florida, New York. Thank you ever so much.